ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीमतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तनं हृद्यन्तस्तु अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूष सर्ववैदिक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाद्य सर्वलौकिक दृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवतो प्रभु कलिदंतोतिदादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाथाय प्रेम वर्ष अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते। मद एक बंधु मद संगेन मद गुरुन् मन महाधन मन निष्ठारक मन भाग्य मद आनंद नमोस्तुते। असाधु साधु तादा इन अतिनीचता करा हाना मुंचा कदाचिन्मां प्रेम हृत कंथयो स्पुरः। ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवताम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. Right, today is a very auspicious day. We are meditating on the seventh canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. I think you should speak now. Okay, we'll come back to this. Maybe in between the class, we'll talk of some meditations on Prahlad and Narsimhadev, on the Prahlad Narsimha Leela. But now let's start off where we stopped. So where did we stop? Who was actually performing austerity, and we left them perform austerity for 100 years? Who is this personality? Who remembers?
Marichi.
No. We're starting with A. The husband and wife, both their names starts with A. It is Atri and Anasuya. Okay, Atri.
Anasuya and Atri.
Right? Okay, so let's continue. Let's just read the translation for text 17. And Ratnadeka is not here, she's addressing Aditi. So maybe you can read Sanskrit also. Okay, those were turns. We don't have a list, but maybe anyone can start. Let's do 17. I think 18 also we discussed. So 17 and 18, let's just do English translations, and then from 19 we'll start. Okay. So who would like to start? 17, 18. Let me see.
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead.
17 translation. Maitreya said, when Lord Brahma ordered Atri Muni to create generations after marrying Anasuya, Atri Muni and his wife went to perform severe austerities in the valley of the mountain known as Riksha. Text 18. In that mountain valley flows a river named Nirvindhya. On the bank of the river are many ashoka trees and other plants full of palasa flowers, and there's always the sweet sound of water flowing from a waterfall. The husband and wife reach that beautiful place.
So what are we reading now? So first chapter is all the lineage continuing from Swayambhuva Manu, right? From Swayambhuva Manu, we actually already read the three sons, two sons, Uttanapad, Priyavrata, and then three daughters, right? So in third canto, we read about Devahuti, Akuti, Prasuti, right? So now, Devahuti, we read that how they had nine daughters, but we focused on that one son, Kapiladev. So now, okay, so this chapter starts off. First, we actually talked of Akuti, right? Akuti, she married whom? Ruchi, right? And from them, whom did appear? The Supreme Personality of Godhead as Yagya, right? As Yagya. And then we read a little bit about that lineage. And then now we actually said, well, what was it? I think Maitreya Rishi, right? Yeah, Maitreya Rishi makes the point that I have actually explained to you about Devahuti and Kardam Muni almost in full. Not completely. Why? Because I focused on the son, I did not focus on daughters. So now let's hear about daughters, and nine daughters, and one of them is Anasuya, and Anasuya got married to Atri. So that's where we are in the lineage. So basically, Anasuya is a daughter of Devahuti and Kardam Muni. Right? Okay. Okay, so that's right. And then now we are seeing that how Brahma ordered Atri, you go and create progeny, right? That's what is our entire lineage. And even Brahma, all the descendants of Brahma, Brahma's main task in his mind is how will this world get populated? So anyone who appears is like, okay, go create progeny. And then so when Atri and Anusaya were ordered to create progeny, then they said, okay, we'll perform austerities first, right? And then they went to this beautiful place. There was a river named Nirvindya. And then what did they do? So text 19.
Text 19. प्राणायामेन संयम्य मनोवर्षशतं मुनि अतिष्ठद् एकपादेन निर्द्वन्द्वो निर्लभो जना. Translation. There the great sage concentrated his mind by the yogic breathing exercises and thereby controlling all attachment. He remained standing on one leg only, eating nothing but air, and stood there on one leg for 100 years.
I mean, it's amazing how they do austerities. One leg, 100 years, nothing to eat. And then, now these days we talk of like, oh, someone if they do not eat for 4 days, they may not survive. I mean, I think eating maybe 9 days or something, but drinking water, if someone doesn't drink water for 4 days, then they're not survive. But see these rishis, and then, when we think of this and we think about, if you see in the entire Bhagavatam, if you see Hiranyakashipu's austerities, I mean, like there's one way it is uncomparable, like what austerities he did. 1,000, no, sorry, 100, no, no, 1,000 celestial years, right? 1,000 celestial years, not only human years. He actually stood and he on one toe, and then he actually prayed to Lord Brahma. And Brahma, when he actually came, he said like, these austerities never seen before. Even Bhrigu Rishi cannot perform such austerity as the austerities you did. And we're discussing this point this previous 2 days, that how Hiranyakashipu performed such severe austerities, to what? To become immortal, right? And so all aim in that meditation was, I want to become immortal. And then he got boons from Brahma, which was, I think, kind of, he thought that he had achieved what he desired. He had become immortal by tricking, I will not die on the land, in the sky, right, in day or night, all those benedictions. And then he became so powerful. And we see the focus of the seventh canto, that how Hiranyakashipu performed such severe austerities. But what was the result? One result that we see, that even though he conquered over the Swargaloka, what was his mind situation? And Bhagavatam clearly makes the point. He had conquered Swargaloka, he had, and it describes that. Bhagavatam makes the point that how the Swargaloka was so opulent, right? He had all the opulence, he had all the power. When he used to just move his eyebrows, demigods used to like shake in fear, right? That was his power of austerity. So the result of and the entire austerity was one, still not satisfied in his mind. Still, and the Bhagavatam makes the point, because his senses were not controlled, he was not satisfied. And then second result, we see that how finally Narsimhadev actually appeared to kill Hiranyakashipu. So all his efforts were actually one way useless. On the other hand, we compare his efforts to the effort of Prahlad. And what did Prahlad do? Did he do austerity for 1000 years? The only thing Prahlad did, and well, Prahlad is also a Nitya Siddha, but to actually understand this point, the only thing Prahlad actually did was to hear from a pure devotee. And Bhagavatam is actually making the point, the power of a moment's association with a pure devotee cannot be compared to anything else. You may perform austerities for thousands of years, you can actually be learned in the Shastra. We see in Bhagavatam 7th canto how Hiranyakashipu speaks such nice philosophy, right? He actually consoles Hiranyaksha's wife and his mother, saying that don't lament, we are all spirit soul, separation is inevitable. And he gives example of Yamaraj and the Kulinga bird. Such nice preaching. Someone know nice philosophy, perform so much austerities, but if he does not have devotion, it is all over. There's no use to it. On the other hand, Prahlad, his association with Narad Muni, and that's it. That's it. Just that moments of association with Narad Muni, he heard submissively from Narad Muni. And Bhagavatam 7th canto stresses on the power of association of a pure devotee and the importance of pure devotion. And Bhagavatam 7th canto starts off when it actually says that how, Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadeva Goswami, is the Lord partial? And then there it actually makes the point that no, the Lord is not partial, and it actually refers to the demigods as those in Sattva Guna. It does not even say the demigods as devotees. So Bhagavatam 7th canto is actually establishing pure devotional service as shown by Sri Prahlad and the power of devotion. And in front of the devotion, Hiranyakashipu was just like, said, okay, let's kill him. And every effort he tried just failed. Why? Because he was protected by the Lord. This is the power of devotion. So all we have to do is, once we find a pure devotee that we are fortunate to find, Srila Prabhupada and his wonderful disciples, all we have to do is just submissively hear from them, serve them. That's it. That's it. That is the key for all success. Once we submissively bathe our consciousness with the words coming from their lotus mouth, we submissively just keep hearing. That's it. We'll get the highest. The highest achievement of all the Shastras comes to pure devotional service. Okay, so coming back here, sorry. So here we see that how Atri 100 years he stood on one leg, right? Ate nothing but air. Amazing. Okay, so let's proceed further. Text 20. Purport to this.
Hare Krishna. It's 20. Sharanam tam prabhatyeham ya eva jagat ishvaraha prajanam atmasamam mahyam prayachatyiva chintayam. Translation: He was thinking, may the Lord of the universe, of whom I have taken shelter, kindly be pleased to offer me a son exactly like him.
So this verse is important for this entire pastime that we are reading, because here, whom is he actually praying to? Jagat Ishvara. Who is Jagat Ishvara? Who is Jagat Ishvara? Now we will say Vishnu, right?
Brahma.
Master of the universe.
Master of the universe, Jagat Ishvara. So now the point here is Atri is actually Sharanam. He's taking shelter of Prapadde. So both the words are there. Sharanam is there, Prapadde. I surrender, I take shelter of Eva Jagat Ishvara. One who is certainly the master of the universe. Now, who is the master of the universe? Actually, Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Atri did not have a specific idea of who is the master of the universe. He knew that, yes, there is a controller. Is that Brahma? I'm not sure. Is that Vishnu? Is that Shiva? I don't know. But I know that is someone. right? So in that conception, he actually meditated. So Eva Jagat Ishvara, one who is certainly the master of the universe. And what was his prayer? Prayachu, I want what? Prajam, a son, Atma Samam. Atma Samam means just like you. Just like you, whoever you are, the master of the universe, I want a son just like you. That's his prayer, right? So Prabhupada actually quotes this one Vedic aphorism, Yato va imani bhutani. Yato va, maybe you have heard this. Yato va imani bhutani. This is a Vedic aphorism which says what? Here, yataha. Okay, maybe if you want to write notes, you can write this very interesting. This Prabhupada quotes Taittiriya Upanishad Yatova Imani Bhutani. Yataha means the absolute truth from which this cosmic manifestation has emanated. Right? So that Brahman by which the universal creation is maintained is actually Yato va Imani. Right? Yena, actually the verse continues and it actually uses the word Yena. Yena means that one who is actually the maintainer. So Yataha means the creator, Yena means the maintainer, and Yasmin or Yat means the annihilator. So basically, what is this aphorism saying? That finally it is all Brahman. That Brahman who becomes the creator is actually referred through in this verse with the word Yataha. That aspect of Brahman, that Brahman who actually maintains is actually Yena, and that Brahman who actually annihilates is actually referred through the word Yata or Yasmin. So when you say Yato va imani bhutani, then finally, yes, I accept this Brahman, and that Brahman who creates is actually the master of the universe, or that Brahman who annihilates is the master of the universe, or that Brahman who maintains is the master of the universe, right? So that is Atri's conception. Now, one may say, like, Atri did not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Did he not know? Ete chamsha kala punsham Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. We read in the starting of Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, right, clearly says, Aham sarvasya pro mata sarvam pravartate. How come Atri did not know? Imagine he is the daughter of, his wife is the daughter of Kardamuni and Devhuti, right? So one way, Atri's uh, Atri's wife's brother is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And he did not know that that is the Supreme Personality of God. How is that possible? And when we actually hear this, we come to the point. Actually, unless we come in contact with a pure devotee, the Vedic aphorisms is all like, there is no that definite answer that, yes, Krishna is the Supreme. Because we are fortunate that we have come in contact with the pure devotee of Krishna, and then in every lecture, Prabhupada says two things. One, this material world is a world of suffering. Second, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we need to go back to Him. That is the ultimate. Every class we hear that. And hence we say, like, how Prabhupada, he is giving the philosophy in so much clarity, unlike anyone else. Because he really knows the Shastra. Right? So Atri did not know. That was the main point, right? So, and then here Prabhupada also refers to Bhagavad Gita. He says, Chaturvidha bhajante mam. Jana, Sukrita, Arjuna. 4 kinds of pious people turn to Krishna, right? So Prabhupada says that Atri was not a pure devotee. What was his desire? To have a son like that Supreme, like that Jagat Ishvara. Is that a pure desire? See,
No. No.
that
If he
is
wanted,
go ahead. Yeah, please.
if he wanted Krishna or as his son, that would have been. But because he wanted a son like the Supreme
Yes.
Lord,
So,
it's not. It's still material.
so-
It's mode of goodness, but it's
yes.
the material.
Yes. So actually, that's the point Prabhupada explains, that his desire was still material. If you want Krishna as your son, Prabhupada makes the point. He's saying, Krishna, I want you as a son. And who had this desire? And we know that Vasudeva Devaki, and then when Krishna appeared, he said, 3 births, you had the desire. You performed austerity for such a long time, and you wanted me as your son. Hence, I have become your son for 3 births. But here his desire is, I want someone like Krishna. And because his desire was not to attain Krishna, but someone like the Supreme, not even Krishna, someone like the Supreme, his desire is material. And Prabhupada makes the point, if he had desired to have the Supreme as his son, then that desire, that austerity itself would have purified him. But because he did not desire that, he still had a material desire. Okay, 21. Please go ahead if you don't have a list today and you would like to chat.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Text entry 1. तप्यमानं त्रिभुवनं प्राणायामेधसग्निना निर्गतेन मुने मूर्ध्नः समीक्ष्य प्रभवस्त्रयः. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While Atri Muni was engaged in in severe austerities, a blazing fire came out of his head by virtue of his breathing exercise, and that fire was seen by the three principal deities of the three worlds. Hare Krishna.
So tapyamanam, so while he was doing the tapaha, pranayam. So we read before his austerity was based on that pranayam. And what is this? Edasa tribhuvanam. How did he get the power of his austerities? And here it says that power was obtained from the three worlds. That means when someone is doing austerity, there is a kind of a power that is required. And that power was actually obtained by taking the power from the three worlds. And because of that, Agnina Nirgatena, the fire issuing out of his head, Mune Murdanaha, right, from the top of his head. Then Prabhava Trayaha, Traya means three, Samiksha. So the three principal deities saw the fire that is emanating from the head of Atri. Right? Now, yes, okay, so that's the verse. Prabhupada actually makes a point in purport. Fire of pranayam, that is the mental satisfaction, right? And this according to Jeev Goswami Prabhupada says, the fire of pranayam is mental satisfaction. And one way, how do we understand that fire of pranayam is mental satisfaction? Even if we just do pranayam, what happens to the mind? Immediately it becomes like at least little more calmer, you start doing deep breathing. Your mind is very active. It's just like here and here, and it wants to like always pick up the cell phone, see what's happening. Just do deep breathing for a few minutes. Immediately you feel like the mind is calm. Imagine the extent of Atri's pranayam. He went to that extent that the fire that was emanating from his head out of that pranayam, that was his result of that mental satisfaction. So that's one way I can explain this. And then Prabhupada also makes a point. Well, confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, who is the Lord of the universe? Yes, here it says three presiding deities, but of them we know for sure Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Right? Sa Mahatma, Sudharva Vasudeva. So it is actually Vasudeva who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, and I'll come to this point again later also. What was the main theme of the third canto? What anartha we were trying to destroy?
Material enjoyment.
The tendency to enjoy material nature, right? Now, in the starting of fourth canto, one way this pastime, one may say it's kind of confusing. Because, and later on also we'll come to this point, that here it says that, it is not pointing out Vishnu exclusively as the Supreme. It's saying all three are actually Jagat Ishvara. Isn't that confusing? Why is this? See, in Bhagavatam, he could have, Sukadeva Goswami or Maitreya Rishi could have easily skipped this part. He could have just said, yes, they had this and then the sons were this, but there was a question, so he's actually explaining. But why is this story there in Srimad Bhagavatam? What is the real point that is being established through a story? Is the point being established that Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are the same? No. Okay, so let's continue. We'll see here Prabhupada actually makes the point that one point he says, and further we'll elaborate on this. He says, actually, it was Vishnu, right? Right. So Vishnu is the supreme, and because the fire was emanating, Vishnu actually saw the fire, and on the direction of Vishnu, both Brahma and Shiva perceived that fire. So, what is the point being said? That even Brahma and Shiva, they get their strength from who? Vishnu. And this is important because what is the next pastime we are going to read? What is the next pastime? Chapter, we discussed last time, right? Chapter 2 onwards.
Daksha and Sati.
Daksha and Sati. And who is the hero of the whole pastime? Lord Shiva. Right? Lord Shiva. Right? And then later on, which is the pastime? And there's, I'm skipping. Oh, yeah. So later on, when we actually read about Prithu Maharaj, when he's doing 99 austerities, who actually comes and says, okay, 99, that's good. Brahma. So we'll see throughout this canto, Shiva and Brahma, we will see pastimes related to them, right? And towards the end of the fourth canto, what is that? Rudra Gita. Song sung by Lord Shiva, right? So when we see throughout the fourth canto, Shiva and Brahma again and again pastimes, how do we see that? When we are reading these pastimes, we know that Shiva and Brahma are actually, when we are seeing their glory is coming from Vishnu. And hence our focus is always Krishna, Vishnu. Vishnu and then further Krishna, right? So even when we are reading about these personalities, like in our mind, it should be clear that yes, they are empowered personalities. They are Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the best devotee of whom? Krishna, right? Krishna. Right? So anyway, we'll come to this point again. But here actually Prabhupada is making the point this on the direction of Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva, he actually saw they saw the fire, right? Okay. Next 22.
Hare Krishna. Apsaro muni gandharva siddha vidyadhara vitayamana yasasya tad ashrama padam yahu. At that time, the three deities approached the hermitage of Atri Muni, accompanied by the denizens of the heavenly planets, such as the celestial beauties, the Gandharvas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, and the Nagas. Thus, they entered the ashram of the great sage, who had become famous by his austerities.
Yes, thank you. So basically here it said that further that these three personalities along with all these Gandharvas, Apsaras, Siddhas, Vidyadharas, they all actually came to the ashram of Atri, right? Ashram Padam. They came to the hermitage of Atri and the three deities, and then Vidyamana Yashasha. And and that actually one way spreads the fame of who had become famous by his austerities. So Atri had become famous. See, 100 years he has performed austerity, standing on one leg, not eating. So he became famous everywhere, right? And Prabhupada in the purport, he says that one should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as a super soul, and one who worships a super soul, all other deities such as Brahma and Shiva appear with Lord Vishnu because they are directed by the super soul. So what is the point? See, even last purport Prabhupada established this point. This verse also he's establishing the same point. What is it? That Brahma and Shiva, they are actually they are working under the direction of Vishnu, basically. Right? Their power is coming from Vishnu. Right? So when we say the second offense to a chanting of the holy name, what is the second offense?
We consider Brahma and Shiva to be the equal or independent of Krishna.
You consider names of demigods like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva to be equal or independent. So they are not equal and they are not independent. They are dependent on Vishnu. Right? So yeah. Okay, 23.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yeah.
Prabhu, when Lord is telling Brahma and Shiva that we have to go see they're doing his austere, so did Brahma and Shiva actually say that, but Lord, you are the actual Jagateshwara, so you should Is there any such mention?
No, it's not mentioned. And later on, let's see, this whole pastime ends with the three partial expansions of Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu becoming the sons of Atri, right? Anasuya. So that's the point. But the pastime ends with the whole thing that Bhagavatam is saying, well, of these three, only Dattatreya is an avatar. Remaining are not avatar. Only Dattatreya is in the category of Vishnu Tattva. Both others are actually Jiva Tattva. And this is through this pastime is actually establishing. Yes, they are all powerful, but no one can be Vishnu because the avatar only came from Vishnu. Right? So that's not been mentioned, and that is like there's also the aspect of, well, it's they have to appear to do something in the aspect of creation. So okay, next. Right, so 23, right? 23.
Hare Krishna. तत्प्रादुर्भावसंयोग विद्योतित मनो मुनिः उत्तिष्ठन्नेकपादेन ददर्श विबुदर्शभाम्. The sage was standing on one leg, but as soon as he saw that the three deities had appeared before him, he was so pleased to see them all together that despite great difficulty, he approached them on one leg.
That pradurbhava, their appearance and samyoga, did they come one after the other? No, all three came together. Right, all three came. It wasn't that Brahma and Shiva were following Vishnu. All three came together. And then Uttishtan, he was performing austerity for 100 years. Now, all of a sudden, then they came, he became awakened, and then he actually saw them. Dadarsha, right? He approached them. Okay, 24. Okay, I can just call some names. We don't have a list, but okay, Shri Adamati, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. 24. Pranayama Dandvat Bhuma Upataste Rananjalihi Varshahamsa Suparnasthan Svais Chihnitan. Translation. Thereafter he began to offer prayers to the three deities who were seated on different carriers, a bull, a swan, and Garuda, and who held in their hands a drum, kosha grass, and a discus. The sage offered them his respects by falling down like a stick.
So all three came. Now Atri did not know who is Jagat Ishvara. How did he recognize them? Through their carrier. Which car did they come? They come in Tesla or they come in BMW, which car they came, and then what they were carrying. Right? So based on these two, he recognized them. So here, this verse actually says, first he did what? Dandavat. Dandavat. So Prabhupada actually explains this verse, Dandavat. We always say, Dandavat Pranam, right? So Prabhupada here says, Danda means like a long rod or a stick. And what means to like fall. So if you have a stick, and it falls, like, just like falling, right? And why is that Dandavat said like falling like a stick? See, if we really like, let's say you're standing somewhere and immediately your Guru Maharaj walks in. Your spontaneous reaction, you don't even have to think, will be what? You'll just fall to the ground. You don't even have to think, oh, Guru Maharaj here, let me offer obeisance. When Prabhupada walks in the room, just like Dandavat, right? Dandavat. So Dandavat is actually the spontaneous, just like a stick actually falls down. Dandavat means, Prabhupada says, before a superior, one has to fall down on the ground, just like a stick, Prabhupada says. And this sort of offering of respect is called Dandavat. Right? Yes, Prabhu, Raj Prabhu, you can post the reading list. Yes, thank you. So when we say Dandavat Pranam, we should actually think about, okay, we are saying Dandavat Pranam to so-and-so devotee. That means what? We are offering them respect and saying, you are superior to me. I am no one in front of you. Hence, I am falling like a stick and offering obeisances to you. That mood is actually should be expressed through the words of Dandavat Pranam. And then further here, if you see the Sanskrit, it says Anjalihi, right? Folded hands. And then he says Vrisha. Vrisha means bull. Hamsa, swan. Suparna. Who is Suparna? Garuda, right? So Vrisha means bull. Who came on a bull? Lord Shiva. Hamsa, who came on a swan? Brahmaji. Who came on Suparna? Garuda, right? And they all had chinna, different symbols that they were holding in their hand. Right? Okay, next verse, 25. Let's see, probably you share the list. Okay, so
कर्पावलोकेन हसता वदनेनोपलम्बितं पितान् तद्रोचेश प्रतिहते निमील्य मुनिरक्षिणे. Translation: Atri Muni was greatly pleased to see that the three devas were gracious towards him. His eyes were dazzled by the effulgence of their bodies, and therefore he closed his eyes for the time being.
So basically here it says Kripa Avalokena. When he saw these three, what did he first notice? He did Danvat Pranam, then he stood up, his hand folded. He actually saw Kripa Avalokena. He saw their glance was full of mercy. And maybe we have this experience with our spiritual masters, that when we see them, we can see that how they're just like through their glance, you can make out, so kind, so merciful upon us. So merciful glance, and then Hasat Vadanina, and they were all had a smile on their face. Smile on their face. So all three of them were glancing with mercy, having a smile on their face. And when Atri saw that they're always smiling with merciful glance, then Upa Lambitam. He appeared very much satisfied. That Roshisha, but their glaring effulgence of all the three actually dazzled the eyes. And it was so bright that Atri was like his eyes, he had to close his eyes. Okay. 26, 27. Do I need to call the names? I see Prabhu posted a list, but it's in the form of an image. And someone has to type in the names. Okay, let's see. Mohan Prabhu, let's see.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. 26, 27. Chetatas tat pravanam yuganam astavit samhat tadan jaha silakshanya sukhaya vacha shravaloka gariyasya Atri uvacha Vishodbhava sthiti layeshu vibhajayam manirihi maya gunir anuyugam vigartadeha tad brahma vishnu girishaha pranato asmi aham vasha te bhavya kayeva bhavatam ma iho pahutaha. But since his heart was already attracted by the deities, somehow or other he gathered his senses, and with the folded hands and sweet words he began to offer prayers to the predominating deities of the universe. The great sage Atri said, O Lord Brahma, O Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, you have divided yourself into three bodies by accepting the three modes of material nature, as you do in every millennium for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all of you and beg to inquire whom of you there I have called by my prayer. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So Chetaha Tat Pravanam. He says fixing his heart. His heart was already fixed on the Jagat Ishvara, right? He was already attracted to them. Then what did he do? Astivat Samat Anjali. His hands were folded, so he actually began to offer prayers. And here it uses how were his prayers? Salakshnaya Suktaya Vachaha. With ecstatic words, with so much emotion in his words, he's offering prayers. To whom? Sarva Loka Garishaha. Sarva Loka Garisha. To these three who are actually worshipped all over the world. Garisha means worship. So that personalities who are worshipped all over the world, he actually offered his prayers. And then the second verse says, Atri Uvacha, Atri actually said, Vishwa Udbhava Stiti and Layeshu. What is Udbhava? Creation. Stiti, maintenance. Layeshu, destruction. So here Atri is saying, for the Vishwa, for the creation, for the maintenance, for the destruction of this world, Vibhya Vibhajyamanahi Maya Gunai. You have divided into three by the modes of material nature according to Anuyugam Vigita Deha. According to the different millenniums, you have accepted bodies. Right? Therefore, to Brahma, to Vishnu, to Shiva. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Girisha. Girisha is Vishnu, Shiva. So to Brahma, Vishnu, Girisha, to all this in Pranataha, I offer my obeisances unto all three of you. I bow down to you, and then Ka eva bhavata me iha upahuto. Whom of you three have I called by my prayers? Right? So Atri asked prayed for one, but three appeared. And he's thinking like, I call only for one, that Jagat Ishvara. How come three of them appear? So hence he is actually offering obeisances to all three. First he said, you have, all three of you have divided yourself for the sake of creation, maintenance, and annihilation by the modes of material nature. Is that true? Is that true? We say Vishnu is in charge of the mode of goodness. Brahma in charge of mode of passion. And then Shiva in charge of mode of ignorance. Now, when Atri is saying that you have divided into three by the modes of material nature for creation, maintenance, is that true?
Yes.
No.
No. How can Vishnu be under the mode of material nature? You have divided into through by the three modes, but Vishnu is completely transcendental. That's the whole starting of the seventh canto. Seventh canto actually proves the point that how Vishnu is completely transcendental. So yes, it is true in terms of Shiva and Brahma, right? They are that way controlling the modes, but Vishnu is completely transcendental. So Prabhupada actually makes a point that when Atri is saying that you have actually accepted, in these three, have divided yourself for by the external. So he has a Maya Gunai, by the external modes of nature, you have divided yourself. Vibhajyamanehi, actually his understanding is not correct, because Vishnu is completely transcendental to the three modes. The Prabhupada actually makes a point in purport where he says, Aham evasam evagre. What is Brahma's prayer in the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, right, 2.9.31? That he says that personality must be existing before the creation. Otherwise, how can he be the source of the creation? So that has to be only Vishnu, right? So hence the Vishnu is beyond the creation. He is not that, okay, when the creation happened, then when the modes appeared, then Brahma and actually Shiva appeared. Not that way. And Vishnu appeared. Not that way. Vishnu is already there. He is the only one who is actually completely transcendental. Therefore, Atri's understanding, saying that, oh, you all three have actually created by the three modes, is actually not a right understanding. Okay. Then further Prabhupada actually said, yes, Vishnu takes charge of mode of goodness, Brahma in passion, Shiva ignorance. Atri doubtful about the constitutional position of the Lord. Therefore, he asked to know, who of you is really the Jagat Ishvara? And then Prabhupada said, Atri is quite certain, right, that the Lord of the universe cannot be created by Maya. That's the first point. And second, that not all three can be Jagat Ishvara. There has to be only one. And hence he asked the question, you all three have appeared. Out of your merciful glance, you're looking at me, you're smiling. Now you please destroy the doubt in my heart. Who of you is really Jagat Ishvara? Okay? Vrindavan Vilasinath.
Prabhuji, I understand that Vishnu is the only one transcendental to the three modes of material nature, but Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they are also in charge of these modes. They are controlling, they are not in the modes, right?
So, yes, they are the controllers of the mode, but it is also mentioned that some Brahma, he gets one way influenced by the mode. See, though Vishnu is controlling the mode, does he ever get connected with the mode? No. But Brahma, we read the prayer, right? At the third canto, chapter 6 or 7, where Brahma, actually, 6 or 7, when Brahma's prayers are there. And what does Brahma say? Brahma says, oh Lord, I am now doing this task of creation. That means I am associating with the mode of passion. But please protect me that I am not influenced by this mode. That means what? Brahma, he can be influenced by this mode. And then we also read immediately about the Vak episode. Right? That means Brahma is actually influenced. Even Shiva, he is one way, in one of the purports in Bhagavad Gita, he said like, okay, there may be a chance of even Shiva getting influenced. But one way Shiva is also transcendental because he's a very unique personality, but still not as transcendental as Vishnu. Vishnu is completely transcendental. Shiva also has a chance, but still, that's just to make the point that Vishnu is the only one who is completely transcendental.
Prabhu, I think what Mataji is saying about that, what I am also thinking that Lord Brahma and Shiva are not really creation of the modes. That's, they are not created from mode of goodness or passion or ignorance, right? That is purely done by the Lord himself. It is his
Vishnu
prakriti.
is creation.
Right. So those created, and then he had to have somebody who can take over those responsibilities.
Yes.
So it is that, of course, when you are sitting in a trade marketing sector, you have to do that trading thing yourself. You need to. If you're sitting in a place of coal mine, you will get black over yourself. So that's what I was thinking, that it's not that they're created from the modes, as he's saying, that you have become three by the three modes. So like here it is like modes are greater than Brahma, Shiva, or Vishnu is completely,
Yeah. It's like how, the Brahman is, I understand, actually, a Brahman I understand is transcendental, but that Brahman has become these three, divided into these three. That is Atri. So that is not the right understanding.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Regarding that point, connected this point, Lord Mohini Avatar, at that time, like Lord Shiva also like attracted, and that katha is there.
Yes.
So in one point it says like he's like Gunatita, but for the Leela, for the helping the Lord, he's doing that way, right?
Yeah. So actually, the Mohini Murti, that is actually one way he wants to establish the glory of his Lord.
Yes.
So that's the Leela, and the point of the Leela is that. But through that Leela also, that Leela is actually just a glorification of Lord Shiva also. That even though he's running behind Mohini Murti, but he's actually making the point that, my Lord is Mohini Murti.
Yes.
Is Vishnu. And I'll run around him, even though if that's like, sages are looking at, oh, Shiva, what are you doing? You left your wife. Imagine like sitting with his wife and like leaving his wife and running behind another woman, just to show my real heart is Vishnu. So that Leela is there. But yes. Okay, so let's continue. 28.
एको मयेह भगवान् विविधप्रदानैः सिद्धिकृतः प्रजननाय कथां न यूयम् Atra gatastanubhrita manasopi durat bhuta prasidata mahan iha vismayoni. Translation: I call for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, desiring a son like him, and I thought of him only. But although he is far beyond the mental speculation of man, all three of you have come here. Kindly let me know how you have come, for I am greatly bewildered about this. Hare
Hmm.
Krishna.
So basically here he asks like, okay, who among you is Jagat Ishvara? They did not speak. They did not say anything. And he's like, okay, I need more clarification, please. So he's actually elaborating on his question. And then he says, Eka Maya, I call for only Eka. It's not 1 for 3 deal. I call only for one. You know, I call only for one. And then I have fixed my mind. Eka Maya Iha Bhagwan. I fixed my mind only on one. And then Vividhai Pradhane. I worshipped only to that one personality. Why? To actually desire a son like that one personality. However, you all three have appeared. Therefore, and I understand, he says further also, he says, Tana Britam Manasa Apidura. And I understand all three of you are beyond the mental speculation, right? So you are actually all beyond this material world. But who among you is actually that Jagat Ishvara? Why have all three of you appeared? I asked for one, I meditated on one, my mind was fixed on one, I worshipped on one. Why have all three? And this is actually a Vishmaya. It's a great doubt in my mind. So you please actually elaborate on this. Okay, 29. I mean, like one way when you're reading this pastime, now you would think that Bhagavatam would clearly come and say that, oh, Vishnu will speak and say, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ete chamcha kalapumsham, I am, aham, to Bhagwan Swayam. Right? But Bhagavatam does not do that. Let's see what Bhagavatam answers that. Okay, Maitreya Rishi. Vacha. Okay, there's a list now. Who read last?
Divyanita Leela Mataji.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm hard time to read, but anyways, I'll try. It's 29. Maitreya Vacha. Iti tasya vacha shrutva trayasti vibudhara shabha pratyahu slakshnaya vacha prahasyatam risham prabhu. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued. Upon hearing Atri Muni speak in that way, the three deities smiled. And they replied in the following sweet words. Hare Krishna.
So here, see, if you see how Bhagavatam is saying, Traya te vibhuda rishabha pratyahu. Traya, all three, and then vibhuda basically means demigods, rishabha, chiefs, pratyahu, they reply. So here they are actually saying Vishnu also as a demigod. Is Vishnu a demigod? He plays the role of a demigod, but he is the supreme, right? He plays the role. He does the aspect of maintenance just like the other personalities, but but here Bhagavatam is saying the three great demigods or three great deities, they smile and then slakshnaya, with gentle vachaha, words, they prahasya, with smiling, they actually spoke. Okay. What, 30? So let's see, next is
Hare Krishna.
yeah, go ahead.
देवा उचुः यथा कृतस्ते संकल्पो भाव्यं तेनैव नान्यथा सत्संकल्पस्य ते ब्राह्मण यद्वै ध्यायति ते वयम्. The three deities told Atri Muni, Dear Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination, and therefore as you have decided, so it will happen. It will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you were meditating, and therefore we have all come to you. Hare Krishna.
Does Bhagavatam say Vishnu is a supreme among this? What is Bhagavatam saying? So here it's saying, and also it starts with Deva Uchu. Deva Uchu. Deva, normally we hear that as demigod. So demigods, they spoke, and then saying Brahman, O Brahmana, or dear Brahmana, Sankalpa Bhavyam. You are perfect in your determination. And then, Tena eva. So by what was your mood of worship, that will happen. Na anyatha. Otherwise it is not going to happen. In the sense that what you desire, that is going to happen. It will not happen otherwise. Why? Sata sankalpasya. O you whose determination is never lost. Now, have you heard this word Sata Sankalpa somewhere? And if you have, this actually comes in the Acharya's commentary to the Leela of Damodar Leela. And there it actually says how Mother Yashoda, what is her mood? Like even though she is bringing rope after rope after rope after rope after rope and getting all the ropes in Vrajdham, she's getting everything, still the ropes are two finger too short, right? And she's determined. She's determined what? I want to see how many ropes it takes to tie my lala. How big is his waist? What is his waist size? Is it 14, 15? I want to see. What is his waist size? And just because of that determination, Sat Sankalpa, and in that pastime, it makes the point that when the devotee has this Sat Sankalpa, that whatever happens, I am determined to serve, that attracts what? Bhagwan's Bhakta Vatsala quality. Because when that Sat Sankalpa comes, and then Bhagwan cannot resist. Bhagwan cannot resist, and those are the two fingers. So what is the two finger? One is the Sat Sankalpa, the determination of devotee. Whatever happens, I am going to serve. I am sick or whatever is my condition, whatever is happening, I will not leave my service to Krishna. I will not leave my service to Guru. I will not stop chanting 16 rounds. This is my determination. And when that determination is there, then that attracts the mercy of the Lord. Because the Lord is Bhakta Vatsala, he is one way forced to reciprocate with that affection, with that determination of a devotee. Right? So that's where Sat Sankalpa actually comes. And like recently I've been hearing about His Holiness Kadam Kanan Swami Maharaj, that how like during his final days, because he had cancer and he couldn't, like, it was in such a situation that he couldn't drink anything, he couldn't eat anything, because the cancer has spread all through his like intestines and his excretory organs. So if he had anything, then that pain of like releasing was just unbearable. So he just stopped eating, stopped drinking. Well, final days was just like that. But in those final days, for him to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it was so difficult. Imagine like no water, no, drinking, nothing. So difficult. And then he was slowly chanting Hare Krishna, like he was doing. And it took him like almost like 10, 12 hours to finish 16 rounds. And then his Guru Maharaj, Jayat Swami Maharaj, actually came and he said, this is your condition. I am your Guru. I am telling you, you just chant 16 times and I will take that as 16 rounds. Because this is your condition, just do 16 times. And what was Kadam Kanan Maharaj's reply? Maharaj, please do not take this vow from me. And he did. Imagine in that painful condition, he spent like whatever 10, 12 hours, no food, no water, and he kept his vow. And he said, I will never break this vow. So when that devotee has that determination, then Krishna, because of his Bhakta Vatsala, he's forced to reciprocate with the devotee. And so that's like a different, that's not related to Atri, because Atri still is not a pure devotee. But that Sat Sankalpa word is very nice. And in relation to that, I have explained these other points. But Sat Sankalpa here is the demigods are saying, here is saying demigods, but we know Vishnu is also there. So, O you, one whose determination is never broken, Sat Sankalpasya, yet why dhyate te vayam, upon who you are meditating, we are all of them. We are the same person. Now, isn't this verse actually sound like Mayavad? We are all one. You worship Ganesh, you worship Hanumanji, you worship Surya Dev, you worship Durga. Everyone is one. No, what is the point here? The point here is they are saying you call for Jagat Ishvara, we are all Jagat Ishvara. So we are same in the sense that we are all controllers of the universe. That is same. In terms of a function, what you desired for, that's what you are getting. And this is setting the scene for the fourth canto, because in the fourth canto it's actually said, what you pray for, that's what you get. What your determination in bhakti is, that is what you are going to get. If your intention in bhakti is not pure, then based on your intention, that's what you're going to do. So here, Atri, because his determination was, he was determined. He did severe austerities. That determination was strong, but because what he prayed for, that was, he prayed for something, and that's what he's actually getting. Right? So Prabhupada in the purport, he actually explains that if you consider Mahavishnu, or you say Garbhodakshay Vishnu, or you say Shirodakshay Vishnu, are all three the controllers of the universe? Yes. Right? How can we deny that? Now, on the other hand, you can say Vishnu, you can say Brahma, you can say Shiva. Are they all controllers of the universe? Yes, but maybe we can put like a star, how they have fine print. But yes, so the point is, because Atri's realization or his mood of prayer is just to the point of all three as the same, that's how he's actually being reciprocated with. Right? Okay. Right. So Prabhupada actually makes this point in the purport, and he says this, we can actually mark these words as a theme of the fourth canto. He says, in other words, one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. One's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. So when we are actually executing bhakti, when we are offering bhakti, I should say executing, when you are offering bhakti, then what is our intention, what is our determination? Based on that, we are going to get the result. Right? Even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he actually explains this further, and he says, to show strength of your sadhana, you will get a result according to your sadhana and according to your desire. So how are we actually executing sadhana, and what is our desire while we are doing sadhana? That is going to determine our result. Now, Prabhupada in the purport, he says, he quotes the verse, Yanti Deva Vrita Devan, right? Pittin Vanti Pittavataha. What is that verse? If you worship demigods, where will you go? Golok Vrindavan? Right? Whoever you worship, so what is your sadhana and what is your determination? Based on that, you'll get the result. And Bhagavatam 4th canto is actually bringing us to the point of strengthening, purifying our determination and purifying our sadhana towards that determination. Okay, 31. Okay, okay, Karuna Purna Shakti Mataji, will you be able to read?
Text 31. Tasmad sabutaste admaja loka vishruta bhavitaro naga adramte virapasyanti jate yasaha. You will have sons who will represent a partial manifestation of your potency. And because we desire all good fortune for you, those sons will glorify your reputation throughout the world.
So, Ataha, therefore, Anga, our dear great sage, Asmat Amsha Bhuta. Amsha, we have heard this word again and again. Amsha, right? That means partial or plenary expansion. Te Amja. So, all of us, our plenary expansions will become your son, right? And then Bhavitaha, in future they will be born. Loka Vishrutaha. And your sons will be famous in the entire world. Badram te viprashanti yashaha. And they will also spread your reputation all through the world. Not only will they be famous, they'll spread your glory all through the world. Therefore, Bhadram te, right? All blessings unto you. 32.
Yeah. एवं कामवरं दत्त्वा प्रतीजग्मुः सुरेश्वरः सभाजितास्तयोः सम्यग्मत्यो वीर्षतोस्ततः. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, while the couple looked on, the three deities Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara disappear from that place after bestowing upon Atri Muni the benedictions. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So they all three disappeared. All three are appeared. All three actually has gone. Okay, 33. Long Manjari Mataji, are you able to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
33.
Somo bhut brahmanomshena tatto vishnostu yogavid durvasaha sankarshayamso nibodhangirashah prajaha. Thereafter, from the partial representation of Brahma, the moon god was born of them. From the partial representation of Vishnu, the great mystic Dattatreya was born. And from the partial representation of Shankara, Lord Shiva, Durvasha was born. Now you may hear from me of the many sons of Angira. Hare Krishna.
So basically, these three are born. So partial representation of Brahma. So here clearly the verse says, Somo, that Soma is the king of the moon. Abud, he appeared Brahmana. From Brahmana, Amshena. From the Amsha of Brahma, Soma appeared. Datto Vishnus to Yogavat. So here the key word here is Amshena. Amshena partial expansion. Datta, okay, so Dattatreya, Vishnu, appeared from Vishnu. Yogavat, and then the very powerful yogi, Durvasa, Shankarasya Amshaha, partial expansion of Lord Shiva. Nibodha, and then that's it. He says Nibodha, Angirasa. Next, I will explain you about Angirasa, which is the next, that is the next daughter who is Shraddha, Shraddha, who gets married to Angira. Okay, questions? I see. So that completes this pastime actually. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So why didn't they clarify to Atri Muni that who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? They would have clarified, right? Because he's saying that I'm praying to Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm bewildered. I'm confused.
Yeah.
They would have.
See, that's the point of the previous verse, that based on the adhikar that we have, to that extent, the realization will come. Right? See, in our spiritual life, as we progress in our spiritual life, we are actually getting more and more qualified to have deeper realizations. Right? Right? So when someone is, let's say, just you're going out door to door book distribution, and then someone starts, understanding, okay, I was atheistic before, but now I'm reading Gita, I'm understanding that that is a supreme. Right? And that says, okay, now I'm accepting that is a supreme. Now, at that moment, will you try to explain, well, there is actually Shiva, there is Brahma, there is Vishnu, there is all this, and then maybe at that level, it's not a good point. Okay, you're accepting that supreme, very good. Now, maybe you develop a mode of gratitude to that supreme, and then gradually, as you progress, then you'll come to a point of understanding who is that supreme. So based on the adhikar of the practitioner, to that extent the realization will come. And that's what this fourth canto is actually one way the theme, that we need to get that adhikar, that qualification to actually understand.
Well, that is for neophyte devotees, Prabhuji, but he is far advanced. He was able to see all three, right? Like at least not in the primitive level, right?
Yeah. See, advanced in what way? Was he advanced in devotion? No. That's why how does this pastime actually start out? The Prabhupada clearly says that he has a material desire. So this is, again, the point is we are seeing the same thing. He performed austerity, But performing austerity from 100 years, does it make him an advanced devotee? No.
I can decide. Yeah.
You know, I mean, later on we'll read about Daksha, Prajapati, such a great personality. He's been selected as the head of all Prajapati. Does it then make him a devotee? No. Right? So all those things are actually external. Where does a devotion come from? Where does devotion come from? How can someone become an advanced devotee?
Pure bhaktas.
By serving and associating and pleasing devotees. That's the only way we can get devotion. Right? That's the only way we can do it. Not through austerities, not through standing on one leg, right? Not, meditation. Right?
So, Prabhuji, karma mishra bhakti, what is that mode? Like, is it you are doing karma, but your intentions are to please Krishna, right? But you are doing your duty. So what mode is that? Is it like?
So it's not pure devotion, but whenever we say bhakti, there is mercy of a bhakta that's involved. So maybe at that stage his desires are not purified. So hence he is doing not pure bhakti, but he's doing karma mishra bhakti or
Right.
jnana mishra bhakti.
That mode of passion or goodness? I'm just trying to understand this mode. Very common.
But it depends on the practitioner, right? I mean, the karma mishra bhakti, like a third canto, what did we read? Even a person who's engaged in devotional service, he can be in the modes, right? We read about like how Kapila Dev is explaining a person who is engaged in devotional service, but he is more connected with the mode of ignorance, or with the mode of passion, or with the mode of goodness.
So mixed modes. It depends.
It depends on the practitioner. Right? Even when Bhagavatam is making the point that even when you're engaged in devotional service, you could be in the modes, in the sense that, someone could actually be doing devotional service. Why? To get liberated. Is that pure devotional service? That's clearly being established. It's a mode. Maybe that mode is, okay, goodness, because at least it's liberation. He's not asking for something material. Maybe someone is doing bhakti, but, with that, there is some mode of like getting some prestige or some worship or things like that. Then passion, right? Or separatist mentality. I care only for Krishna. I don't care for devotees of Krishna. That is ignorance. So it depends on that practitioner. So this is one way. It's the process is that karma mishra bhakti, pure devotional service, or jnana mishra. They have processes, but in each processes, one way we can say they are like different grades, right? Third grade, fourth grade. Just to give an example. But within the grade, the students could be different, right? So.
Thank you so much.
Well, I was thinking on the same point that you were trying to explain about that how the Lord did not really, clarify. Is I think in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right, that if somebody wants to put faith in something, I am the one who enriches that faith. True. So since this is his level of realization, they did not want to disturb his level of, I put your faith, maybe eventually. By service to Dattatreya, maybe next birth he might be,
So based on what is our adhikar, to that extent we'll actually realize. So so 3 points have come. One is our intention, right? Second is our sadhana, right? Intention or So one is intention. Second is our determination in sadhana, and what's the third point I just thought about? Okay. What was the point? You just said something now.
The Lord does not interfere, Prabhu. So, like the independence of the jiva to choose.
I know, I'm forgetting. Like when you said that point, the third point had come, but now I cannot recollect it. But at least, we are seeing the intention, the determination of the sadhana, all that. Right? Okay, we have more questions. Renu Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu. So,
Strength of the devotion, Prabhuji? Is it the third? I'm just asking.
No, the devotion.
Strength of the devotion?
Strength of devotion. Okay, there's something else that can come, but
Who is it? Attention? Attention, intention, and determination.
Not right here, but yes, that's also important. But yes. Okay, go ahead. Right.
Yeah, yeah, Prabhu. So, what kind of avatar is this Dattatreya? We know like there are six different types of avatars, like Shaktavesh and all those.
I mean, here Dattatreya is not said as a Shaktavesh avatar, right?
Yeah,
Amsha of Vishnu. So actually, if you see, one point is again and again in this creation, like in this chapter, we already saw one incarnation. Who is that? Yagya. Now we are seeing second incarnation, Dattatreya. Now further in this chapter, we'll see incarnation of Narayan Rishi. So there are so many incarnations, and this is all within one period. And then previously we read about Kapiladev.
yeah.
So all those are incarnations. What category do they?
And all four are mentioned in that 24 list in the
Oh,
Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam, yeah.
Yeah.
Dattatreya is mentioned, Kapil is mentioned. Then
Yajna is also, I think,
Yagya is mentioned, yes.
yeah,
Yagya is
Narayan is mentioned.
Narayan Rishi, all are mentioned, yes.
Yeah. So, but
I
one
mean,
when
like
we,
one way, if you see Bhagavatam, how it says, like, 1, 3, 26 makes a point. Just like waves in the ocean, so many
yeah,
incarnations are there. So there are actually unlimited incarnations. And one way, I was thinking of this point that why is fourth canto actually, it pointed this story, but at the same time, it actually said how all these incarnations are there. 3 incarnations mentioned in the first chapter of the fourth canto. I was thinking like how when we read this, we know that okay, in every aspect of the creation, the Lord is present. To make anything happen, Krishna has to be there. So his incarnations are coming again and again to actually reciprocate. So
But in the CC now, Yagna is the Manvantara avatar.
yeah,
Because
that he becomes the Manvantara avatar, right?
yeah,
We read that in text
that
number.
is some of the Krishna mentions.
Yes, so in text 8 and 9, Lord Yagya, he is the Manvantara avatar, and also he becomes Indra, we read, right?
Right.
He becomes
Yeah.
Indra also. Yes.
So
So
for
there
Lord,
are many
sorry.
Manvantara avatars, bro, right? I mean, like,
For,
it doesn't necessarily mean only one, right?
I mean, for every Manvantara, there's one Manvantara avatar, right? So the others are avatar, but not necessarily in that category of Manvantara avatar. So it's like for this period, there is one designated incarnation as the Manvantara avatar.
So we can consider as Leela avatar, like, because it's just pastime, right? That's just when there is no avatar designation, we can always come to that Leela part. Understanding.
That's what I'm thinking.
But here also say like Ansha avatar, Ansh 2-3 times, right? Here.
Yeah. So Amsha is basically plenary expansion.
Yeah.
For sure. So I think this we have to look at. Um, anyway, I can refer further and look this up, which is a book that where all the incarnations are explained. Rupa Goswami explains so much in detail. Logo Bhagavatam, right? In that book. In that book, I can check and I'll maybe give more details of like if they are mentioned about like which kind of avatar does this category falls on. But we know this is an Amsha. Okay, are there more questions? Vrindavan, you'll ask something?
Prabhuji, in the translation of this verse, text 33, Prabhupada is calling Dattatreya mystic, the great mystic Dattatreya. Even if the Sanskrit word mystic is not used, why Prabhupada is calling Dattatreya mystic?
So the word yoga vid, so that Prabhupada is actually using it for Prabhupada is connecting that yoga vid to Dattatreya, right? See, for partial representation, translation Prabhupada, he says Durvasa. And then he says Durvasa Sankarasya Amsha, partial expansion. So that yoga vid, Prabhupada is actually connecting that to Dattatreya, and that yoga vid is Prabhupada is actually explaining as mystic. I mean, just a great yogi.
Prabhu, I think I have read, when I was in Bombay, I've heard that Vatatreya did great austerities, like, how Kapila Dev is the Acharya of Ashtanga.
Shankar.
Yeah, so in Sankhya. So Dattatreya is also Acharya of mysticism.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's this pastime. Now, from 34 onwards, all the way to 45. Let's see. Yeah, 45 is all just the lineage. So we are going to quickly read through. It is basically from this, so and so was born. From this, so and so were born. So only if there is a need for an explanation, I will give. But let me share my screen quickly. Okay, give me a minute. So let's see if anyone would like to share any verse from the Bhagavatam as a prayer today to Prahlad Narasimha, so that we can again bring our mind to Prahlad Narasimha. Any favorite verses from Prahlad Maharaj's prayers, or a prayer to Lord Narasimhadev, or maybe just the mood of worship today? Anything that you're meditating on, would like to share? Just for 1 minute, I need to share the screen. Anyone?
Prabhuji, the prayer that you shared in the group, that how, and especially in these difficult times, how Prahlad Maharaj is saying that all envious persons be pacified. There will real auspiciousness in the universe. There is peace everywhere. There is everyone should care about the welfare of others, and this is possible only by devotional service to Lord Krishna. Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. What was that number, Mati? 518 9, right? 518 9. Yeah. 518. Okay, let me share my screen now. So our next part, we are just going to focus on this entire table. And also, like, I got few copies of Subodhini. So those who do not have, please reach out to me. So fourth canto, if you not have, let me know. I have a few copies, so I can give it to you. Can you just raise your hand electronically, those who need Subodhini? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So please just, I'll bring the copies today also at the temple. So please collect it from me. Okay. So let's see. You can put your hand on. So can you see my screen? Okay. So if you see here, so 15 to 33, that was a section that we just read, Atri, Anasuya, and then we read about the sons Dattatreya, Durvasa, and Soma. They three have appeared. Now 34, 35 will talk of Shraddha, Angira, and how they had 4 daughters, 2 sons. Then Havirbhu, Pulatsya, 2 sons. Okay, so we'll come to this. So let's continue. We'll read only the English translations from 34 onwards, and only if there's a need for explanation, we'll stop. Otherwise, you can just refer to the table, and it's just basically a lineage that we are reading further. Okay, please continue.
Hare Krishna. Angira's wife Shraddha gave birth to 4 daughters named Sinivali, Kuhu, Raka, and Anumati.
Okay. So right here you can see the table, Shraddha, Angira, 4 daughters, the names. Okay, next verse.
Besides these 4 daughters, she also had another 2 sons. One of them was known as Uthaya, and the other was the learned scholar Brihaspati.
Right, so Brihaspati is here. Again, you see in this table the 2 sons, Uttatya and Brihaspati. Okay, next, 36.
36. Pulastya begot in his wife Havirbhu, one son of the name Agastya, who in his next birth became the Ragni. Besides him, Pulastya begot another very great and saintly son whose name was Vishrava. Hare Krishna.
So here we see in this chart two sons, Agastya, who in the next life became Dharagni. Okay, Dharagni. I was looking at more details for this, but anyway, right now we know that here actually Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, in another birth, Agastya was the digestive fire, Dhara Agni. So he became digestive fire. And another son was Vishrava. Okay. Okay, further, let's continue. So
37. Vishrava had two wives. The first wife was Idavida, from whom Kuver, the master of all Yakshas, was born, and the next wife was named Keshini, from whom three sons were born, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana.
let's see. Okay, so I mean, let's continue. There's nothing for me to explain as such here. Who's next?
Krishna.
Yeah.
38. Ghati, the wife of the sage Pulaha, gave birth to three sons named Karma Shrestha, Varian, Sahishnu, and all of them were great sages. Hare Krishna. Yeah.
So in the purport, Prabhupada just says that this personality, Gati, the wife of Pulaha, was the fifth daughter of Kardama. So all we are reading right now is those 9 daughters of Kardamuni and who they got married to, and then their sons. Okay, 39.
39. Translation: Kratu's wife Kriya gave birth to 6,000 great sages named Valakilyas. All these sages were greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge, and their bodies were illuminated by such knowledge.
Okay, let's keep going. Who's next, please?
Vilasini Mataji, I guess it's your turn.
The great sage Vishishta begot in his wife Urja, sometimes called Arundhati, 7 spotlessly great sages headed by the sage named Chitraketu.
Okay.
Text 41. The names of these 7 sages are as follows: Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulbana, Vasubhridayan, and Dyuman. Some other very competent sons were born from Vashishta's other wife.
Can you see my screen? Maybe I think it's stopped, right?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me just share my screen. Yeah, you can see now, right? Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here we read 38 Gati Pulaha, 3 sages, right? Then 39 Kriya Kritu, 60,000 great sages called Valakyalas, because they all retired from. That's what we are reading now, right? The family life as Vanaprasthas. And then we read about Urja or Arundhati, and she got married to Vashishta, and Vashishta had 7 great sages, and Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulbana, and then Vasu, Bridhyana, and Dyumana. Okay, continue, please. I mean, there's no purport also to these verses, so please go ahead.
Arundhati Presi Mataji is not there?
Is that it?
I'm here. Sorry, which one is 41? Prabhu? Sorry.
42 Mataji. 42.
42. Chitti, wife of the sage Atharva, gave birth to a son named Ashvaishira by accepting a great vow called Dhadyancha. Now you may hear from me about the descendants of the sage Bhrigu.
Okay. Next verse. Please keep going on. I'll tell you where to stop.
Text 43. The sage Bhrigu was highly fortunate in his wife known as Khyati. He begot two sons named Dhata and Vidhata, and one daughter named Shri, who was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Right. Okay. Next.
The sage Meru had two daughters named Ayati and Neti, whom he gave in charity to Dhata and Vidhata. Ayati and Neti gave birth to two sons, Mrikinda and Prana. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So see, up to 43, we read about these 9 daughters and who they got married to and their children. Right. Now, let me switch to the other part. 42. Yeah, so that's right here, right? So
So, Prabhuji, in the same family, the great rishis are also born, and the demons like Ravan is also born.
also born, yes. Yes. Everyone, this is all from the lineage we are reading about all these personalities being born, yes. So this is what we are reading right now. Gati, Pulaha, 3 sages. Then Kriya, Kritu, 60,000. We read that, right? Urja, yeah, we read this for Khyati. Okay, Bhrigu. Okay, next further, we are at verse number 45.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, go ahead.
The sage Meru had two daughters named Ayati and Niyati, whom he gave in charity to Dhata and Vidhata. Ayati and Niyati gave birth to two sons, Mrikanda and Prana.
Okay, 45.
Markandeya, from Markanda, Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana the sage Vedashira, whose son was Usana, Sukracharya, also known as Kavi. Thus Kavi also belonged to the descendants of the Bhrigu dynasty.
46.
46, 47. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the descriptions of this dynasty with faith will be relieved from all sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha. Hare Krishna.
One way, when we are reading all these names, you may think that, okay, it's lineage, let's just go through. And then here Bhagavatam is saying, well, don't skip this. And here there is a falshruti for just reading about this lineage. And then Bhagavatam is saying, my dear Vidura, the population increase. Anyone who hears Shrinvataha, right? And then Shraddhadhanasya. Everything in Bhagavatam is so important that he's saying, Shrinvata Shraddha. You just hear this with faith. And what is the result? Or you'll be relieved of all. Sadhya, immediately papa haraha. Sadhya, immediately all your pap is actually washed away. So did we just skip through this section or did we read it with Shrinvata Shraddhaya Shraddha Dhanasya? So if we did with Shrinvata Shraddhaya, all our pap is washed away. Okay, otherwise you can go back and again read this section. Okay, now he says, okay, now I'll talk about who. So now I've completed who. So I have completed Devahuti, son, and 9 daughters. Who they got married to? Their sons. What about the next one? Let's come to Akuti, we already talked about. Now let's come to Prasuti. Right? So here now we'll read about 48 onwards, Prasuti and Daksha. Right? Okay, continue please.
Rosie, one question is like 37. Iswaswara has two wives, like from whom Ravana, Kumbhakarna Vibhishana was born. Is there any reason like Kesini? Why did they born like from? Is there any story
Mhm.
like
Like what?
how
Why?
Karma and Diti interacted during half time?
Oh,
Is there any?
I'll have to see, Prabhu. I don't know.
No problem.
Yeah. I mean, like your point about like how we know through DT she
Yeah,
died at the wrong time and hence is
inauspicious time. Yeah.
yeah. So what is the story behind the appearance of this? I'll have to look this up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are at text number 48, right?
Hare Krishna. Daksha begot 16 very beautiful daughters with lotus like eyes in his wife, Prashuti. Of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma, and one daughter was given to Agni. Hare Krishna.
Next. So 16. So how many daughters did Devahuti have? 9. Now her sister now has how many? 16. Out of that, instead of like, one way each 16 reading to this husband and this son, 13 of them are married to Dharma. 1 given to Agni. So how many left? 2 more. So let's read about those 2 more. Next verse.
Hare Krishna. One of the remaining 2 daughters was given in charity to the Pitralok, where she resides very amicably, and the other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of sinful persons from material entanglement. The names of the 13 daughters of Daksha who were given to Dharma are Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Medha, Titiksha, Ri, and Murti. These 13 daughters produced the following sons. Shraddha gave birth to Shubha, Maitri produced Prasada, Daya gave birth to Abhaya, Shanti gave birth to Sukha, Tushti gave birth to Muda, Pushti gave birth to Smaya, Kriya gave birth to Yoga, Unnati gave birth to Darpa, Buddhi gave birth to Artha, Medha gave birth to Smriti, Titiksha gave birth to Kshema, and Ri gave birth to Prashraya. Murti, a reservoir of all respectable qualities, gave birth to Sri Naranarayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So here, we are reading 13 daughters, we read their names, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually makes the point that these 13 daughters, they are actually presiding deities of the various Shaktis of Sattva Gun. So Sattva Gun, mode of goodness, the Shaktis associated, all these are the presiding deities. And one I found very interesting in this, that Titiksha gave birth to Shema. What does Titiksha mean? Tolerance. Tolerance gave birth to forgiveness. So interesting. And it's such a nice point to meditate on. That if we are tolerate, then we are like, okay, whatever someone bad does, we are like, okay, I'll forgive. Now, is there a story why that Titiksha gave birth to Shema? But I don't know. But here it's nice words that from forgiveness comes, from tolerance comes forgiveness. Okay.
Prabhu, actually, all of it is like that. Shraddha, faith, gives auspiciousness. Maitri gives prasadam. I'm like prasad. Will give prasad.
Maitri, so friendship gives prasadam? That's good. When you have too many devotee friends, you'll get a lot of prasadam. Then Daya gave Abhaya. So that's also there. Then Shanti, then peacefulness gave birth to happiness. Then Tushti, satisfaction, gave to, again, Muda is also happiness. Pushti gave birth to Smaya. I know what does Smaya mean. Then Kriya gave birth to Yoga. Unnati gave birth to Darpa.
Unnati gave birth to Darpa. Darpa is Ahankar, right, Prabhu? So, Unnati,
that's a good point.
material advancement,
can
right.
Then from Buddhi came Artha. When you have intelligence, you can earn a lot of money, right? From Medha, that's good intelligence, comes Smriti. That's nice. That's what we know, Smriti.
All the qualities.
Yeah. And Ri, I don't know what does Ri mean. Gave birth to Prashraya. But
Prabhuji, you said these are 13 daughters are presiding deities of?
qualities of Sattva Guna. So that's why we are seeing all these qualities here, because they are presiding these qualities, right? And that's why we see the names they're giving rise to these qualities, right? Shraddha, the faith, is giving birth to auspiciousness, friendship to prasad, mercy to fearlessness, shanti, peacefulness to happiness, tushti, satisfaction to pleasure, nourishment to smaya. Smaya, I'm not sure what is smaya. I'll look it up.
But why Darpa, that is also falling under Sattva. That is not right, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Unnati gave birth to Darpa. Is that
Only Darpa.
Oh, daughter is Unnati is the representation of goodness, right? Not the Darpa. As you said, 13 daughters represent the 13 qualities of
qualities?
mother.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Unnati-
Unnati is under Sattva.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
She gave birth to Darpa.
Darpa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knowledge gave birth to prosperity. Good intelligence gives birth to remembrance. Titiksha, tolerance, gives birth to forgiveness. Ri, I don't know. Ri, I'm not sure. Ri gave birth to prashaya. I'm not sure. Okay. So finally, after all this, then we comes Sri Nar Narayan Rishi. Okay. So now we are going to read. So Vishwanath Chakra Thakur actually says Maya means enthusiastic to perform acts of dharma, right? So if you see what gives rise to Smaya, we said
Pushti.
Pushti. Okay, so nourishment gives. Oh, okay. So that's good. So if you have that nourishment in your life, then you're enthusiastic to perform acts of dharma. Darpa, actually here Vishwanath Chakra Thakur says Darpa as expert in austerity and yoga. So it is not actually arrogance, but Vishwanath Chakra Thakur says Darpa means expert in austerity and yoga. And Smaya, he said arrogance. Darpa,
Prabhuji, Google search is saying Smaya means balance, harmony.
yeah, but Vishwanath Chakra Thakur says Maya means arrogant, and Darpa, pride, produced generations of sinful people. So Darpa, both meanings are given. One is expert in austerity and yoga, and Darpa also means pride. So from that aspect of pride came sinful people, right? And so 53.
Hare Krishna. On the occasion of the appearance of Naranarayana, the entire world was full of joy. Everyone's mind was tranquil, and thus, in all directions, the air, the rivers, and the mountains became pleasant.
So we didn't hear that for anyone else. All these qualities are there, but we didn't hear. But as soon as Narayan Rishi appeared, what are we hearing? Entire world became happy, right? And the Sanskrit actually says, Abhay Nandat. Vishwam Abhaya Nandat. The whole world became happy. Su Nivritam, full of joy. Everyone's mind became full of joy. And yes, and the air, the rivers, the mountains became pleasant. Okay, 54, 55. What further happened when Narayan Rishi appeared? Who's next?
Prabhuji, Naranarayan Rishi means it's two names, but one Rishi, Prabhuji.
No, two personality. We'll see further. We'll come to that, Mataji. Yeah. We'll read about the explanation in a minute. Just in a minute.
Okay.
So let's read this next
54. 54. In the heavenly planets, bands began to play and they showered flowers from the sky. The pacified sages chanted Vedic prayers. The denizens of heaven, known as the Gandharvas and Kinnaras, sang. The beautiful damsels of the heavenly planets danced. And in this way, at the time of the appearance of Narayana, all signs of good fortune were visible. Just at that time, great demigods like Brahma also offered their respectful prayers. Hare Krishna.
So basically here, when Narayan Rishi appeared, bands, music started playing, right? And the Gandharvas started singing, flowers were showering from the sky, the sages, they were chanting Vedic mantras. So, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead appearing. So, yeah, the beautiful damsels, they danced, and everything was all auspicious, right? So, he says, Parama Mangalam, the highest good fortune was visible everywhere. And so then they actually said prayers. So, there are two verses of prayers. Okay.
56. The demigod said, "Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the transcendental personality of Godhead, who created as his external energy his cosmic manifestation, which is situated in him as the air and clouds are situated in space, and who has now appeared in the form of Naranarayana Rishi in the house of Dharma." Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada so the verse basically like the demigods are praying, let's offer our obeisances unto the transcendental personality of Godhead. So they are actually saying Mayaya Virachitam. That personality who is actually the creator of Maya, Nijaya, by his own Shakti. So basically Prabhupada in the purport, he stresses on the point of the Lord and his energy. Are the Lord and his energy one or different? Both. Right? So both. So that's the Prabhupada's emphasis on the purport that when we see variety in this world, that is a manifestation of the energy of the Lord and external energy of the Lord. And that energy is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord himself. And hence the demigods are actually offering their obeisances to that supreme personality of God. Then further they actually say idam ke in the sky, rupa bedam. Just like in the sky we see bunches of clouds, just like that, right? So even Prabhupada said, which is situated in him as air and clouds are situated in the space. So just like when we see the sky, we see air, we see clouds, they are situated within the space or within the sky. Similarly, this external energy, this manifestation of Maya is actually situated within you, O Lord, right? And now you have appeared where? Dharma Sadhane, in the house of Dharma, right? That's the personality we are reading, how they appear to Dharma, right? Right. And then Adya, today you have appeared Purushasya, Supreme Personality of Godhead. We offer our Namaha, our obeisances unto you. Right? Okay. And then Prabhupada also makes a point that when we see varieties in this world, that certainly, yes, there's a manifestation of the external energy of the Lord, but just varieties in the world is actually a reflection of the variety in the spiritual world. If there are varieties in this world, then how can we say that the spiritual world has no variety? It is just a reflection. Like in the reflection, if you're seeing mangoes, if you're seeing variety, you're seeing different fruits, that means that is original sum, right? Right. So Prabhupada elaborates on that verse. Okay. Then 57.
Hare Krishna. Let that supreme personality of Godhead, who is understood by truly authorized Vedic literature, and who has created peace and prosperity to destroy all calamities of the created world, be kind enough to bestow his glance upon the demigods. His merciful glance can supersede the beauty of the spotless lotus flower, which is the home of the goddess of fortune. Hare Krishna.
So it's a nice prayer here. So they are saying what? He, Sthiti, right, the created world, this material world, Vyatikara, the calamities of this world. So that is that Lord who is Upashamaya, who is actually destroying the calamities of the world. And how is he destroying? And then here he's saying he's creating peace and prosperity to destroy the calamities of the world. Right. So further it says Satvena, right? Satvena, you have actually created the peace and prosperity to destroy the Vyatikara, the calamities. And then further it says Suraganan, the demigods, Anumeya Tattva. How is the Lord understood? Through Anumeya Tattva, through the Shastra. So Prabhupada elaborates on this point in the purport, and he says, like scientists, we want to know the origin of this material world just through our research, through our speculation, and then they come to the point that finally nature is the cause of everything. It is the ultimate cause of all manifestation. But without the aspect of Shastra, we will never come to the understanding of the creator as the source of everything. Right? Hence, the word that the demigods use is anumeya tattvataha, that you are understood only through Shastra. Right? And then adabra karunena, please shower your drishyat, shower your merciful glance about on us. And then it says Sri Niketan, the house of the home of goddess of fortune, amalam, spotless, chipata supersedes aravindam. Right? So it says your merciful glance supersedes the beauty of a spotless lotus flower, which is the home of the goddess of fortune. Right? So we read previously about this merciful glance, how the three personalities were showering their merciful glance on Atri. Right? And here it is said, well, the glance of the supreme personality of Godhead is so beautiful that it actually supersedes the beauty of a spotless lotus flower. Therefore, we pray that, O Lord, please shower your merciful glance upon me. Okay, so those are two verses of prayer. Let's just continue. Text 58.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Maitreya said, O Vidura, thus the demigods worshipped with prayers the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as the sage Naranarayana. The Lord glanced upon them with mercy and then departed for the Gandhamadana hill. Hare Krishna.
Okay, next verse. So basically, like after the prayers, then these two personalities, the Lord glanced upon them with mercy and then they departed to Gandhamadana mount.
Thus, Narayan Rishi, who is a partial expansion of Krishna, has now appeared in the dynasties of Yadu and Kuru in the forms of Krishna and Arjun, respectively, to mitigate the burden of the world. Hare Krishna.
So to Mataji's question, who are these Narayan Rishi? So here it says both of them, Bhagavataha Harer Amshaha. They are both part and parcel expansion. They are actually Amsha. They are expansions of the Lord Himself. And how are they the expansions? These two expansions have actually appeared Bharavaya for the mitigation of the burden and Bhuva of this world. Krishna. So if you see in word to word, Prabhupada says Krishna, the two Krishnas. Who are the two Krishnas? Krishna and Arjun. Yadu, Kuru, Udva, who are the best of the Yadu and the Kuru dynasty, respectively. So who are these two personalities? One way they are Krishna and Arjun, right? So here it says, who have now appeared in the dynasty. So Krishna and Arjun, their partial expansions are Nar and Narayan Rishi. Right? So there are two personalities. Krishna and Arjun, they are partial expansions. So another way of looking at it is when Krishna and Arjun appeared, these two Narayan Rishi expansions were within Krishna and within Arjun. So Narayan was within Krishna and Nar was actually within Arjun. So Prabhupada says that Nara, the portion of Narayan, has appeared in the family of Kurus, and that Narayan, the plenary expansion of Krishna, has come as Krishna, right? To actually mitigate the suffering in this world. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur stresses on the point. The Amshas have entered their Amshis. Everyone understands this? Avatar and Avatari. Avatari means the source of the avatar. Similarly, Amshi means the source of the Amsha. So the Amsha have entered into Amshi. So Nar Narayan have entered into Krishna and Arjun. Okay. 60, I think. How many verses? Two more verses. Oh, that. Okay. Let's go. Let's continue. There are a few more names we have to read. 60. Go ahead. 60.
The predominating deity of fire begot in his wife Swaha 3 children named Pavaka, Pavaman, and Suchi, who exist by eating the oblations offered to the fire of sacrifice.
So now up to this point, we read about the 13 wives of Dharma, right? And then Dharma and Right, yeah. So 13 wives we have read up to this point. Murti, right? Dharma and Murti. And from Dharma and Murti, we had Narayan Rishi. Now, the 14th wife, who is actually, 14th daughter. 14th daughter of Daksha. She actually, by name Swaha, her children are mentioned as Pavakaha, Pavamana, and Suchi. And then Prabhupada in the purport, he says that how these Pavaka, Pavamana, and Suchi, they accept the oblations when we do Swaha. When we do Swaha, they are the ones who accept oblations. Okay, next 61.
Hare Krishna. From those three sons, another 45 descendants were generated, who are also fire gods. The total number of fire gods is therefore 49, including the fathers and the grandfather.
Right, so including father and grandfather, 49. So actually, when we do this yagya also, like when we do Graha Pravesh yagya, there's a particular fire god that we call. You do a different kind of yagya, another fire god. When you do initiation yagya, a different fire god. So it's all like different fire gods. And here Bhagavatam is saying that totally 49 of these fire gods. And based on the sacrifice we are performing, we call a particular fire god. Okay. 62.
These 49 fire gods are the beneficiaries of the oblations offered in the Vedic sacrificial fire by impersonalist Brahmanas.
Okay, so further.
Why they are saying impersonalist Brahmanas?
Yes, Prabhuji, I have the same.
So here, proper, if you see word to word, it says Vaitanike, offering of oblations, karmani, activity of the fire gods by the names Brahma Vadibihi. So that Prabhupada translates as the impersonalist Brahmins. And Prabhupada in translation, purport, he says, impersonalists who perform Vedic fruitive sacrifices are attracted to the various fire gods. So, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, by the names of these 49 devatas, offerings are performed in Vedic actions of sacrifice. These are not the common fires, and thus there is no waste in having so many. So basically, he's saying that these 49 are mainly associated with the karma kanda activities, the fruitive activities, and I don't know why Prabhupada mentions the impersonalist Brahman. Maybe the point there is that it is actually this, because Brahmavadina actually also could refer to those who are karma kandik Brahmanas, who actually do this karma kanda rituals, right? And one way Prabhupada is giving that impersonalism touch, because, who would actually worship so many demigods? Those who do not understand Krishna as the Supreme. They will do all the karma kanda. They'll say, okay, good wife, worship this. Good husband, do this. Good business, do this. Right? So that way, all these, personalities, these fires are worshipped by those who do not have the conception of the personal supreme personality of God. Right? Okay. 63.
The Agnishwatas, the Barhishads, the Saumyas, and the Ajapas are the Pitas. They are either Sagnika, Sagnika, or Niragnika. The wife of these Pitas is Swadha, who is the daughter of King Daksha.
So Prabhupada does not give a purport, but here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually says that those who receive the fire sacrifice, they are called Sagneha. And those who do not receive fire sacrifice, they are called Anagneha. So Prabhupada translates as Sadnigna, Sagnika, that those who receive it, and Niragnika, who do not receive the fire sacrifice. And that's the distinction. I'm not very clear on all these points of what this actually is, but our acharyas also do not elaborate. But those who are actually have more knowledge of the karma kanda rituals, they'll have a more detailed explanation of like what is this in detail, right? But anyway, it's not maybe so important at this point. Okay, 64.
Hare Krishna. Swada, who was offered to the Pitas, begot two daughters named Vayana and Dharini, both of whom were impersonalist and were expert in transcendental and Vedic knowledge.
So this is actually, we read how one of the daughters was actually given to Pitraloka in charity. So this is that daughter. And she had two daughters, Vayuna, Dharani. Both of them were impersonalists and were expert. So one way it actually appears as contradiction because it says Brahma Vadinyo and then Jnana Vijnana Para Age. Impersonalist and expert in transcendental and Vedic knowledge. So basically, when we say these expertise, it is more towards the karma kanda. And that's why Prabhupada is connecting that word impersonalism here. Because they are worshipping so many demigods, that means you do not have a conception of that one supreme person. And then last 65.
The 16th daughter, whose name was Sati, was the wife of Lord Shiva. She could not produce a child, although she always faithfully engaged in the service of her husband.
Okay, so last two verses is leading on to the next pastime, which is our next chapter, 66, last verse.
Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The reason is that Sati's father Daksha used to rebuke Lord Shiva's in spite of Shiva's faultlessness. Consequently, before attaining a mature age, Sati gave up her body by dint of yogic mystic power. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada in the purport, he just gives a hint to the pastime, which is going to be our next chapter. So it's very interesting pastime, lots of lessons, and it's I mean, we often quote about this Daksha. So we had mentioned last time how one way fourth canto is starting with this main story of Daksha, is going to end with the story of Daksha, right? And what we learned from this pastime, we'll discuss in our next class. Okay, so basically in this first chapter we saw like so many like the lineage, right, expansions to so many verses with just the names, and then our main we read about the main pastime here was Atri, right? He getting, and then we read a little bit about Narnarayan Rishi, and we read about Yakya. Okay, so I'll stop here. There's Seva in the temple also today, and Narsimadev, wonderful festival. So, any thoughts or any final points before we end?
No, Prabhuji, is there, maybe I missed it, but do we read that why Sati was allowed to choose her own husband, Lord Shiva, and the others were given in charity? Is
It will come, Mataji. We'll come to that point, you know, why Sati actually selected Lord Shiva. That'll come in detail in the next chapters.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, I really like this point. One's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion.
That was like one way the main theme of this. Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Just an observation here. So the Prasuti's daughter Swada, she was married to Pitas, like, you know, so like very rarely we see like how we have Pandavas, like, you know, one woman is married to like many. So I think this is another example where like one daughter is married to like different Pitas, like, you know, so
Yeah,
yeah.
a good point actually. So actually in the, so it talks of like Agnishwatas, Barhi Sadas, Saumyas, Ajapyas, and Pitraloka. So 1, 2, 3, 4 personalities have been mentioned. She's married to 4. And
Even Prachetas, Prabhuji, Prachetas married to one by friend.
Yeah, Prachita also, they got married to one daughter. I'll come to
100
the end of the.
Prachetas, right?
Huh?
100 of them?
No, 10.
10.
10 sons get married to one daughter. Interesting.
Prabhuji, I like this point that based on our adhikar, we get deeper realization and we get pure bhakti just by pleasing the pure devotees and serving them. Hare Krishna.
I mean, that's the whole beauty of the 4th canto of Bhagavatam. Oh, sorry, 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, where we see Prahlad Narasimhadev's story, you know. I mean, why it shows that Hiranyakashipu is preaching, so one whole chapter for Hiranyakashipu is preaching, right? And then how is that compared to Prahlad Maharaj's preaching? So 2 chapters of Prahlad Maharaj's preaching. What is the difference? So much austerity by Hiranyakashipu. What is the austerity by Prahlad? Just to open our ear and hear from a pure devotee. That's all we need to do. Come to a pure devotee and say, I want to serve you, I want to hear, I want to take shelter of you. And through that mercy of pure devotee, we can progress in our spiritual life.
Prabhu, can I read 2 verses from the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj?
Yes, please. Can you tell us the verse number? Maybe I can share my screen so that.
Text 15 and 16.
Of chapter?
Let me go up. Chapter 9.
Okay. Yeah. 15, 16?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Let's share my screen. Okay, you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
But Prabhuji, we are seeing Rukmani Dwadashi.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Okay. My Lord, who were never conquered by anyone, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright like the sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp, piercing teeth, your garland of intestines, your mane soaked with blood, or your high, wedge-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies. O most powerful, insurmountable Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, I have been put into the association of demons as a result of my activities, and therefore I am very much afraid of my condition of life within this material world. When will that moment come when you will call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal for liberation from conditional life? That just gives me chills.
That's prayer. It's so interesting that Prahlad Maharaj now he prays that I am very much afraid of my condition of life within this material world. Therefore, always keep me in your shelter. And further, if you see in this chapter, Prahlad Maharaj actually says, actually, I am satisfied on my own because I am always remembering, I'm always meditating on your lotus feet, so I'm not concerned about myself. I am concerned about everyone else. And Prabhupada often quotes that Prahlad Maharaj says, for us, we are always, thinking about Krishna. So Prahlad Maharaj, in that mood, Prabhupada quotes that, our main thing is we actually spread Krishna, give others. Prahlad Maharaj says, I'm worried about all these people who are actually trying to find happiness in this material world, and you please bless them. So Prabhupada liked that prayer a lot. So nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So
going back to the chapter, I was thinking when we were reading, when we came to Ravana and this. So this whole lineage has come from Satyug all the way till, Treta. The lineage is because Ravana comes in Treta Yuga, right? So the whole Satyug is done in the whole genealogy.
I mean, it's very interesting that later when we read about the Manus, right? And we'll see that how Priyavrat, his son, becomes the Manu of the next Manu. And it's like Priyavrata is in the first Manvantara. And one Manvantara is how much? 72 cycles of Satya Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga. 72 cycles. And then a person born in the starting is actually becoming the Manu for the next 72 cycles. So imagine how long they actually live. So interesting. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Shri Prahlad Narasimhadev Bhagwan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we read text 15 and 16, right? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for Karuna Purna Shakti Mataji's prayers. It was so nice. Very appropriate for today's
meditation. Yes, so nice. We always need the shelter of Lord Narasimhadev. Maya is so strong, And in one way, we need that protection from our own anarthas.
Related
So,
for everyone, it's talking about the material world.
yeah. See, the other verse I was referring was this 43, where Prahlad Maharaj is actually saying, I am not at all disturbed or afraid. So in this verse, he says, I am afraid of this world, please give me shelter. And then later in 43, he says, actually, I'm not afraid of the insurmountable material existence because my consciousness is fully absorbed in the nectarian bliss of chanting your glories. I simply lament for those who are actually averse from you, making plans for sense gratification. Such fools carry the burden of illusory happiness in maintaining their family, societies, and countries. So therefore, Prahlad says, I do not wish to be delivered alone, leaving all these people. And Prabhupada really liked this mood. It's not like going to the Himalayas just for ourselves. No. Give Krishna to others. And Prabhupada really connected with this mood. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools. I do not see any shelter other than you for all those wandering blindly in this world. So nice praise. Okay. Thank you so much. श्रीमद् भागवताम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you all so much. So please collect your those who don't have Subodhini, you can take your Subodhinis, and please, we'll see all of you. Those are here. Please do come for our evening festival starting at 4 p.m. and we'll have a wonderful yajna, wonderful drama, wonderful class, so wonderful kirtan, a very nice occasion to glorify Lord Narasimhadev and Prahlad Maharaj. Okay. Prahlad Narasimhadev Bhagwan ki jai,
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much.
Thank you. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you very
Krishna.
much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
So
Hare Krishna.
when Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjun that many births I have taken, you don't remember, I remember. Could he also remember like Narayana as previous incarnate?
The incarnation of Narayan. I mean, with pure devotees, Arjun, the reason is forgotten is again Krishna's Yoga Maya potency, right? So if Krishna wants, he'll just say, Yoga Maya will say, okay, this is who you were before, now you're this. It's not like us, like we keep, and Arjun is taking our position where we keep forgetting lifetime after lifetime. So, okay. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.